can I just point out as well that the actors guild has voted to strike, so they are. People in chat are mentioning it. They are officially going to go out on a strike. I think it's effective from tomorrow. Is it? It's going to take place pretty soon, anyway. And that, as far as I understand it, that's going to shut down everything in Hollywood.
Yep. Everything.
Because they were managing to keep movies and stuff limping along with the writers on strike, but with this, you got nothing. That's it.
Everyone's saying the Film Actors Guild.
Yeah. Matt Damon.
Even films that are already done and scheduled to come out will be impacted because, as I understand it, I mean, part of the strike is that actors will not go on press junkets. They won't do press tours. They won't give interviews. They won't do publicity materials. They won't do anything. So any film that's already done but is scheduled to come out will suffer marketing-wise.
Yes, that's true. In fact,
like Oppenheimer.
They moved up Oppenheimer so that they could do the red carpet. So it's no red carpets, no press interviews, no junkets, nothing. And this is affecting the Emmys is going to be pushed back because of this, because actors can't, promote to win awards. Award season is a whole, there's an awards industrial complex. I know only because I'm part of an organization that votes in awards, the CCA, the Critics' Choice Awards. So I'm well aware of this stuff. But yeah, this is, and here's how it's going to affect down the line. I was talking with friends. We were looking at social media last night, just as it went past midnight. It's going to affect everyone else below the line, electricians, everyone, any small job related to production will be affected. It will also affect the restaurant business because people in this industry, in this town, well, they go out to eat a lot. It's going to affect the economy in a dramatic way, at least in, Los Angeles area.
I think this is forcing the issue, though, isn't it? This is the whole point of it. I mean, they've proven that they can keep running for months without writers, because they're fucking useless anyway. But if you don't have actors, it's like, okay, the whole industry's shut down. That can't continue indefinitely. That has to be resolved pretty quickly. Yeah. So I can't see them being on strike for more than a couple of weeks before some kind of deal gets reached.
What's the big problem? Why are they striking?
Not paid enough. That's usually
it's not paid enough, not enough residuals, and I know one of the more recent controversies, certainly regarding the actors, was about AI and digital rights and image rights. So are you going to be forced, say, to sign a waiver saying that we'll be allowed to use your likeness in future without necessarily paying you for that? So I mean, that bit I think is the most interesting part of the strike. I'm happy for all parties to lose in this one. I want the studios to lose. I think most of these writers are hacks and don't deserve employment, so I'm happy for them to lose as well. The actors are assholes, and ideally we'd have better people. The most interesting one, the issue that really does need to be resolved, I think, is probably the question of AI for script generation, and also particularly for image rights. Because if you are just going to be able to say, we're going to take your likeness, we might pay you a one-off sum, but then we can use it forevermore, and that's basically it. I don't think that's a tenable position going forward.
Yep. It's the crew and the lighting guys, the electricians, all the guys who work behind the scenes that I feel bad for, because they are the people who just do the job day to day and probably work their arses off and don't get paid all that well. And they now are losing out as well because the actors have decided to strike and productions are shut down. And I imagine they don't get any safety net for that, will they? That's when people start invoking the force majeure contracts or the clauses in their contracts, where it's just like, well, we're out. What can we do? It's outside of our control.
Wasn't there a statement from some studios or whatever about how they're going to wait them out at this point?
That was for the writers, yeah. I saw that. Yeah. So basically, we will run it until they, eventually they're going to start needing to pay rent, or their contracts will go up, or their utility bills will come in and they won't be able to pay them. And at that point, they'll come back to the table, which is tenable up until I think the actors go on strike. That might have changed things a little bit.
Well, I think that this is a purge. This is a purge of the less experienced writers who may have gotten into their positions not based on merit. I'm just going to say. But
my God, do you think Hollywood's that aware? Do you think they actually have that ability to self-reflect? And they're like, yeah, these people are ruining our business. We need to get rid of them. This is how we do it.
I think part of the way you do it is you get rid of the activists by making it. Look, a lot of those people are going to be going to culinary school. pretty soon to learn a useful trade. I think it's a way to just get rid of people who are underperforming and look, it's not going to affect the writers that have been around a long time, working writers who have plenty of films under their belt, who have reputations. Like, those people are set. So this is a purge, and it's an opportunity also to kill a lot of series that are not performing as well. So Hollywood's looking on this as an opportunity. They're not concerned.
But they will be now with their actors out.
Right. The actors is different. And I agree, that is not going to last as long.
Yeah.
And part of it is part of it is like to show that they're in solidarity with the writers. That's why the actors are doing it. It's like, yeah, we're with you. But
well, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, if they're in solidarity with the writers, like, is that going to force the writers' issue as well and get them what they want? Or, well, is it possible for them to reach a deal with the actors but not the writers?
Well, if the problem, from what I understand, I have several friends that are in the Writers Guild, and they tell me that what it is it's a lot of these new writers that come in. They're not particularly experienced, and they're making demands that are stupid. And these are the types of people that I think maybe we've all had interactions with morons on social media. This is the mindset. This is the mindset of a lot of these the newer folks that are coming into the industry without a lot of experience or even levels of professionalism, right? So this is what I'm hearing from a buddy of mine he's produced. He's just like, I'm just going to go off and make an indie film. I don't care. Indie film is the future. I mean, effectively, we may segue and talk about this. Sound of Freedom is effectively released as an indie film. So I cheer for any indie film that will take, and I'm talking about independent, not Indiana Jones. Any indie film that will siphon money away from Hollywood is a good thing.
This is one thing I was going to touch on actually just before we moved on, is like the fact that Indy 5 like collapsed at the box office and just essentially left a void before Mission Impossible came along. It allowed other movies to kind of swoop in and take some of that box office revenue. Because you had things like Insidious, which dominated that second weekend. A franchise which, it's fun and all, but it's never been a big hitter at the box office. And suddenly it's like massively overperforming just because, I don't think because Insidious The Red Door was a particularly amazing film or anything. It's just people wanted to see something. It's the summer movie season. Yeah. They weren't interested in indie. Mission Impossible wasn't out yet. Oppenheimer's not out yet. And they just went to go see that because it was there. I mean, I'm happy that it's done well. It's a smaller film and it's getting a bit more attention, so that's all good. And yeah, Sound of Freedom, I don't know if that's tapped into that same thing of just people were at a loose end. They wanted to watch something, but it's also kind of a bigger issue, I guess, like socially and politically. That movie like touches on a lot of big things that I guess have been brought to the public consciousness more in recent years. And it's been very interesting, the reaction in the media to that film. Like, they are doing everything they can to stamp that one out. And it's weird because it's just having the exact opposite effect.
Yeah, well, I'll just a quick capsule review of Insidious, The Red Door. It's terrible. It's I thought it was like a CW tried to make a horror film. I think the Insidious series for me is kind of weak. And I saw it with an audience, and there was a row of young girls, teenage girls, that were talking through the entire film. It actually made the movie better for me, but still fell short. So yeah, so I can't believe that a movie as bad as Insidious, won at the box office. Like, that was shocking.
Yeah,
I did not predict that.
It's when people are just like, they're in the mood to go to the movies, and it's like, well, we'll just see whatever's on, and you've got your choices of like, do you want to see Dial of Destiny?
Yeah.
I'm all right. What else is on? Insidious. Oh, okay, we'll watch a horror film in the middle of summer. Sure, okay, why not? Fair enough. Yeah, like that's. I guess it's interesting. You get these little quirks in the box office when there's some movie that just collapses. Like, well, something has to fill the void, I suppose, and that's it. But yeah, Sound of Freedom, a much better movie. Not exactly like, you know, crowd pleasing fare or anything, but again, it's attracted a lot of attention and it's way overperformed. And it's a funny one because Disney actually sat on it for about 5 years, didn't they? Like, it was made by Fox back in the day, and then Disney bought them over. They refused to release it, but they just, like, they didn't delete it either. They just kind of sat on it and eventually sold it off to this little studio who released it themselves.